Good afternoon, everybody. That's actually pretty good for this group. We're going to try it again. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. How are we doing today? On behalf of Arts Connect and the Springfield Township Board of Trustees, we want to welcome you to the Cincinnati Civic Orchestra concert here at WinterFest. This is probably our umpteenth, I don't know how many, so we'll just say umpteenth annual concert that we do. My name's Ralphie Parker. I will be your host today. I want to welcome you all here. Just to let you know, the concert going on this afternoon, we do have also out in the village out there, we have food available for sale. Over at the Community Arts Center, we have a craft show going on. So when you all are done, you can go out there, have some fun, go do a little holiday shopping, and have a great day. So now, I do give everybody the option every year. Now, I always say, mind you, remember how much you paid walking in the door. Anybody want to hear a joke? Ooh, that didn't sound really promising, but we'll give it a shot anyway. So, what did Adam say to his wife the day before Christmas? What? It's Christmas Eve. What differentiates the Christmas alphabet from the normal alphabet? Noel. All right. Somebody's thinking like I am. That's scary. And finally, what is the most popular carol in the desert? Come all ye faithful. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Cincinnati Civic Orchestra.
Welcome, everyone, to the 91st season of our Cincinnati Civic Orchestra and our second holiday concert this year. Welcome also to everybody out there in television land. Hope you can see us, hear us, and enjoy the concert. 5 years ago, it occurred to me that we play a holiday concert every year, and it's usually closer, the first one at least, to Thanksgiving than it is to Christmas or New Year's. And I thought, there must be some music for Thanksgiving out there. And there just wasn't. And so, very graciously, our own Ed Howard did a wonderful arrangement for us called Thanksgiving Medley. And we have now, for each year since then, after opening with Sleigh Ride, played the Thanksgiving Medley, and we're going to play it again for you now. It's beautiful music. Ed did a wonderful job, and it puts us very much in the right feeling for this concert, a feeling of thankfulness, a feeling of family, a feeling of being together. What's really special today, though, is Ed has also written for us a piece called O Come, and we're starting the second half of the concert with the world premiere of that music, Advent music. So you'll get to hear two of Ed's works on one concert, and you'll get to hear a world premiere today. We give you the Thanksgiving Medley. I see quite a few familiar faces in the audience. Those of you that joined us for our opening season concert in the fall know that this year and next year, the Civic Orchestra is traveling around the globe in music. And this concert is going to be largely devoted to the holiday music of Russia. It seems like probably other than Sleigh Ride, the next biggest request we get is, when are you playing the Nutcracker Suite again? Well, sit tight. Second half of the concert, we'll be doing Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. Right now, though, we're going to play a couple of short pieces to adjust our ears to the very different sound of traditional Russian holiday music. First, we have a brief little religious song by Anatoly Ladilov. Just a beautiful little piece, nicely arranged for symphony orchestra, that will sort of take us from here at Springfield Township across the country, across the ocean, to Mother Russia. One of the reasons today we have so much of Peter Tchaikovsky's music still with us was an opportunity he had as a relatively young composer. One of the musical magazines came to him and said, "We'd like you to do a little piano piece for each month of the year. And next year, each month in the magazine, we're going to publish that work so that everyone that gets our magazine will be getting a gift each month of a new piece of music to play." He accepted the commission. Good way to get your name in front of the public. They didn't have to come to a concert hall. It came right in the post to their door. But there was one little string attached that he didn't know. The publisher had already decided the title for the piece of music in each of the 12 months. December was titled Noel. And in fact, all of the titles for every one of the 12 months were in French. Tchaikovsky really didn't like that. He was a very, very, very proud Russian, but the titles were in French. The titles were in French. This little piece of music, now orchestrated for full orchestra, is one of Tchaikovsky's first and best indications as to where his music would go in the future. And especially the waltz part of it. You feel the waltz of the flowers, the waltz of the sugar plum fairies, all of these great pieces of music that were to come later in his life. So we're going to take you right now to Christmas in a magazine delivered to your door for you to play on your piano in Moscow or St. Petersburg, the Noel by Peter Tchaikovsky. occasionally we have the privilege to play a piece of music that is seldom performed, especially seldom performed by symphony orchestra. Alfred Reed, I think we would have to say transcribed or worked out the Russian Christmas music. Originally, he wrote it for concert military band. It was first played by combined 6 of the United States Army bands. Think about that, 6 concert bands playing one piece of music. This is the music that, after the Second World War, that the first Christmas tree on the lawn in front of the White House was illuminated to. You'll all recall that during the war, midway through, Stalin decided to break with Hitler and to bring Russia over to the Allied side. We needed to send some American soldiers over to basically coordinate what was going to happen. Not a lot of American military personnel spoke fluent Russian, especially not ones that were deemed non-critical to the war effort. Alfred Reed, though, spoke Russian, and he was an Army bandsman, so the band wasn't playing a lot of concerts in the middle of the war. As you probably will remember from history, Stalin did not break from the Nazi cause when he was supposed to. He waited almost 5 extra months. I don't think we know for sure why, but it appears that there were enough Nazis in Russia that he knew once he broke, he was likely to be assassinated. And he needed some time to protect his own life and the life of his officers. But there was a problem. We had these American officers in Russia in civilian clothes. They were technically spies. Had they been caught, they would have been executed. So they had to hide them someplace, and they ended up being hidden in a Russian Orthodox monastery during the holiday seasons. President Roosevelt wanted very much to know what that music was about. And that's how this first arrangement came to be for military band. And many years later, McAllister and Reed got together. Reed was quite elderly at the time and did the first arrangement for symphony orchestra. There are literally in the front of the score 2 pages of instructions from them to try and help a modern American conductor to understand what this music is about and how you play it. It's as powerful a music as I have probably ever conducted. There are parts of it that seem to be the Hallelujah chorus from the Messiah, yet there are parts of it that are Silent Night. It's an amazing way that the Russian Orthodox Church looks at the holidays, looking at both the glory of a Savior being born to bring people to God, but also looking at a baby being born, new life. And this music we have not played now since, at least according to my records, 2014. We don't try and put this together very often. So this is a real opportunity to hear a different world of the holidays and to hear some music from very, very, very devout and very, very, very believing people. In the Russian churches, there are no organs, there is no music as we know it. To keep the beat, the Orthodox monks will somewhat march their feet. It's sort of like a bell choir, the big guys having a heavier stomp than the little guys. Sometimes they'll even pound on their chest with their mouth open. It's very rhythmic, very powerful. And they don't quite believe in keeping the beat the same like we do. It'll be a measure of 3, a measure of 2, a measure of 4. It's whatever fits the words. You can't change the words. It's music that we're not used to. It's music, though, that you'll want to hear again and again, and I wish we could play it more often. We give you the Russian Christmas music. started the concert, I promised you a world premiere, and now you're going to get to hear O Come, written by our own Ed Howard. There are some wonderful Advent pieces of music, and some of them are hidden away. Glad Tidings to Zion, sort of tucked away in the Christmas section of The Messiah by Georg Friedrich Handel. The beautiful O Come, Emmanuel that it's in most hymnals still, but not everyone sings it. And then, of course, the new modern hymn, Emmanuel, Emmanuel. Ed's taken these wonderful Advent melodies and woven them into a beautiful little setting of the music that traditional Christians look toward the coming of the holidays. Look with expectation as to the beauty of the holidays. So we give you for the first time, O Come, O Come. I love nutcrackers. It is the absolute epitome of taking a simple device to crack a nut open so you can eat what's inside of it and turning it into everything imaginable. We're decorating now for the holidays, and we have a nutcracker from Germany that's a clockmaker nutcracker, and in his beard there swings a little clock that tells time. I think that has nothing to do with cracking nuts. Now, when you turn loose the idea of a nutcracker to an absolutely wild and crazy guy like Peter Tchaikovsky, you are going to be in trouble. And the Nutcracker Suite also gets the musicians in a good deal of trouble. This music was not meant to be played by an orchestra. As you'll recall, the Nutcracker music was played in a pit with about 20 musicians, while a whole bunch of people in crazy costumes were dancing on stage. They didn't have any trouble keeping together, even if the conductor was off, because they could hear the footfalls up on the stage. They knew exactly what was going on. I played the Nutcracker a couple times in the pit before I ever got to see the score, and I knew exactly what was going on up there. I couldn't see it. I mean, they were up on the stage, but you could feel the people up there dancing around. All of a sudden, again, Tchaikovsky never saw a way to get his name out there that he didn't take. Why don't we arrange the music into a suite for concert orchestra? Well, it is a great idea, and it is wonderful music for you to listen to. It is just absolutely horrendous to keep it together up here. It's fun, though. It's fun. But all of you here in the auditorium, and all of you at home watching on TV, you need to imagine the ballerinas on stage. You need to imagine the Russian dance with them dressed up and kicking their legs. You need to imagine the march. You need to get into the spirit of this little girl where all of her fantasies have come alive before her. So we give you some of the best parts of the Nutcracker Suite. We're going to give you now three of my favorite little marches. Growing up as a little boy in my grandfather's house, we marched around the Christmas tree. Yeah. My grandmother and my mom and my aunts stood in the corner praying to God that those lit candles on the tree wouldn't fall over as all the kids marched around. Now, today we think of O Tannenbaum as this cute little German carol, but when you have 12 little munchkins, oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree, I mean, marches have always been a part of the holidays, because the holidays, more than for us big people, are for the kids. And they love to march around and knock things over while they're marching around. Now, three of the best marches ever written are what we're going to give you right now. First, a cute little march by Peter Tchaikovsky, very, very short. In fact, you have to listen carefully because it's almost over before you hear it. And then we have the March of the Lead Soldiers, written by Pierre, a French take on little French children marching around. And then our own, the March from Babes in Toyland. I want to put a plug in right now. This summer, our Pops concerts will be a very special set of Pops concerts. 20 years ago, we did a summer series called 10 Decades on Broadway. Now, when that was suggested by one of the members of the orchestra's board, I was thinking, yeah, 1927, Showboat, and from Showboat on, about every 10 years, there's a great Broadway musical. But what do you do for 1900 and 1910? I mean, that was before we had Broadway. It was vaudeville. And we found a couple of early pieces. When you've got an orchestra that's been around since 1929, we have some music in the library collecting dust that most people have never seen. And so we did The Firefly, and we started it off. Well, then 10 years ago, we did 11 Decades on Broadway. And that worked pretty well. So this summer, we're doing 12 Decades on Broadway. And for this decade, we already have the music in-house. We've been given permission to play the music from Hamilton. So this will be one exciting summer. But we're going to change things around a little. For the 19 teens, we're going to do part of Babes in Toyland by Victor Herbert. It was copyrighted in 1913. Babes in Toyland may have actually been the first piece of Broadway. We think of it as vaudeville, but there is a continuous theme to it, and there really aren't a lot of spoken parts. It's sung. It certainly is one of the best early efforts of American musicians to do something that the rest of the world wasn't doing. We have to remember, the original score of Showboat, a copy of which I conduct from, says an American opera. That's what Jerome Kern thought he was writing, was an opera, because we didn't have Broadway yet. It was in one of the theaters on Broadway, and other things followed up in the theaters on Broadway, but we have the name Broadway because we took what the rest of the world did to another step. and made a truly American form of music. So if you're not on our mailing list, this is the reminder. Fill out the little form, get on the mailing list so you know when the summer concerts are, and come out and hear literally a history of America's greatest musical gifts. So we give you some little marches. For all the years I've been privileged to conduct this orchestra, now well over 35, we have ended with Leroy Anderson's Christmas Festival. And for all but one, before it, we played Festive Sounds of Hanukkah. We would have played that first year, but it wasn't in print yet, so we had to wait a year. A few years back, we were very lucky to be able to replace Anderson's Christmas Festival the way we hear it now generally at shopping centers, wherever sound system plays Christmas music. We were able to replace it with the original version. It was written by Leroy Anderson for Arthur Fiedler to conduct at the holiday concert when the Great Hall in Boston was reopened after its restoration. It's a powerful piece of music. And especially in the original version, it is just much more intricate, much more interwoven, much more interesting than the way we usually hear it today on recordings. Something you need to know about the end of it. Just before the ending, when we play it here, there'll be this big timpani roll. And that's actually what's in the score. And that is even what the musicians expected to hear at that first performance in Boston. But there was a little secret that nobody knew except a few members of the board and the maestro. They had also restored not just the hall, but the great organ that hadn't been heard for many, many years. And instead of the timpani roll, they heard literally 2 feet down and 10 fingers down on one of the biggest organs then in the world. And this huge chord came out. Now, Tom will try and do a good job duplicating that with the timpani. But can you imagine the delight of the audience and the musicians, knowing that not only was their hall restored and were they going into the beautiful season of these holidays, but they also got to hear this amazing, amazing organ play again. So we will end with Festive Sounds of Hanukkah and a Christmas festival as we always do. Please don't applaud between the two of them. We play them together. They fit very well together. As a reminder, though, for all of us and all of you out on television land about what these holidays are really about, the love and the caring and the being part of a community. The first time we played these together many years ago, we were performing at the College of Mount St. Joseph. One of the sisters there came up to me after the concert. She's a little hard of hearing. She said, "Maestro, I didn't hear your announcement of that piece of German Christmas music you played in front of Leroy Anderson's Christmas Festival. Who wrote that? What is that?" And I said, "Sister, that was Festive Sounds of Hanukkah." And she stopped for a second and she said something only a sister would say. "Was that written before the Christian era?" And I thought about it and I said, yes, some of the little melodies indeed go back well into biblical times. And she said, "Isn't that wonderful? That's the songs the little baby Jesus would have sung." And that's a reminder to all of us. We're much closer, no matter what our divisions may be, than we are far apart, especially during the holidays. So thank you all for being with us. Get on the mailing list so we can keep in touch with you and you can come to the future concerts. Our winter concert will be amazing Scandinavian music. We always end our concerts with a bit of pops music, and we couldn't think of any Scandinavian pops music. And fortunately, I was reminded there was a group called ABBA. And so we'll be doing Mamma Mia at the end of the concert. And then in the spring, we're going to be doing the wonderful Schumann Piano Concerto. One of our past conductors, a dear friend of all of us, Eugene Flem, is coming up from Florida. Eugene's in his 80s, and he's going to be playing this concerto for the first time. That's a good lesson for all of us. You're never too old to learn new things. And with it, we're going to play Beethoven's Fourth Symphony, which we have not played in over 50 years. Very beautiful work, seldom performed live. So another not to miss afternoon of music. So thank you all for coming.
Let's hear it once again for the Cincinnati Civic Orchestra. Let's hear a big applause. Larry, thank you very much. I want to thank all of you for being here. Definitely want to thank all the sponsors who make this entire day and all yesterday possible. So definitely go out, enjoy yourselves. We have food available for sale out back, as we discussed, over at the Community Arts Center. We have a vendor fair, lots of arts and crafts. I believe Forest Park Women's Club is raffling off $500. So great Christmas shopping money to be had. And we want to thank the volunteers for Waycross Community Media for covering this day, because what you all didn't know was this concert was going out live all across the globe. Didn't want to tell you that earlier because I didn't want to make you nervous and make you self-conscious. So you've been seen all over the world. So anyway, thank you very much. Enjoy yourself out there today. Have a great holiday season.